My grandmother's house has 7 interior doors, and by the time I visited her last spring, every single one squeaked. Loud, groaning, rusty squeaks that woke her up when my uncle came in late at night. She'd been spraying them with WD-40 every few months for years, and they'd quiet down for a week or two before starting up again. A handyman quoted her $400 to replace all the hinges. Before she agreed, I brought over a $2 product and spent 20 minutes with her going door to door. 3 years later, none of those hinges have squeaked. Not once, because we used the right lubricant. And when you use the right lubricant for door hinges, the squeak doesn't come back. Let me walk you through why hinges squeak, why WD-40 is the wrong product for this job despite everyone using it, and the $2 alternative that actually solves the problem permanently. First, let's talk about what makes a hinge squeak. A hinge consists of 2 plates connected by a pin that rotates. As the door opens and closes, the pin rotates inside the knuckles of the hinge. Over time, the metal surfaces oxidize, collect dust and grit, and lose any factory lubrication. When metal rubs against contaminated metal, you get noise. The squeak is the high-frequency vibration of the pin and knuckles scraping together. The fix is straightforward in principle. Get a lubricant between the pin and the knuckles and the squeak stops. The problem is that different lubricants behave very differently on this job. WD-40, the most commonly used product, is actually not a lubricant in the traditional sense. WD-40 stands for water displacement, 40th formula. It's a solvent-based product that cleans off rust, displaces moisture, and leaves a very light oily residue. It will quiet a squeaky hinge briefly, but because WD-40 is mostly solvent and evaporates quickly, the lubrication it provides doesn't last. Within weeks, the pin is dry again, the dust and grit are collecting again, and the squeak returns. Worse, WD-40 has a cleaning action that strips away other lubricants. So when you spray WD-40 on a hinge, you're actually cleaning off whatever lubrication was there, then leaving a layer that evaporates. It's a short-term fix that can create a long-term problem. The right product for door hinges is either silicone lubricant, white lithium grease, or a product specifically formulated for hinges. All 3 work long-term, and all 3 cost about the same or less than WD-40. The $2 option that's simplest is silicone lubricant spray. A can runs about $4 to $6, and a single can treats hundreds of hinges. Silicone doesn't evaporate the way WD-40 does, doesn't attract dust, and doesn't damage paint or finishes. It's the go-to for most hinge lubrication needs. White lithium grease is even more durable. A small tube costs about $3 to $5. It's a semi-solid grease that stays in place, provides excellent lubrication, and lasts for months or years. It's a little messier to apply than silicone spray, but the longevity is exceptional. For truly permanent lubrication on hinges that get heavy use, a graphite lockset lubricant or a specific door hinge lubricant works well. About $5 per tube. Here's the basic approach. Step 1. Identify the squeaking hinges, open and close each door slowly, listening for the squeak. Some doors have multiple hinges, and usually only one is the noisy one. Identify which. Step 2. Prepare the hinge. If there's visible rust, dirt, or dried old lubricant, clean it off first. A rag dipped in a tiny bit of mineral spirits or rubbing alcohol wipes away residues. Let it dry briefly. For heavily rusted hinges, a small wire brush or the edge of a utility knife can scrape off flaky rust. Step 3. The silicone spray method. Open the door so the hinges are accessible. Spray a small amount of silicone lubricant directly into the hinge knuckle, where the pin meets the plates. Move the door back and forth a few times to work the lubricant in. Wipe away any excess on the hinge faces or the door surface. Repeat on all hinges that are squeaking. Step 4. For deeper treatment, you can pop the hinge pin. Most interior door hinges have a removable pin. Tap the bottom of the pin upward from below with a nail or small punch, and lift the pin out from the top. This lets you apply lubricant directly to the pin and inside the knuckle, which is more thorough than spraying. Step 5. Apply the lithium grease if using. Put a small amount of white lithium grease on the pin with a toothpick or small brush. Slide the pin back into the hinge. Tap gently to seat it. This approach coats the full length of the pin with grease that stays in place. Step 6. Work the door, open and close it several times to distribute the lubricant. You should hear silence after the first few movements. For painted or finished doors, be extra careful to wipe away any excess lubricant. Silicone in particular can create issues if it contacts wood that you might later want to refinish or paint, as it resists adhesion. For exterior doors, which face more weather and wear, use a heavier-duty lubricant like lithium grease or a marine-grade lubricant. A tube of marine grease costs about $5. For heavy commercial or industrial doors, use bearing grease or a product designed for heavy hinges. The same principles apply, but with more robust products. For door hinges that continue to squeak despite multiple applications of lubricant, the hinge itself may be worn. If the pin has developed a groove, or the knuckles are egg-shaped from wear, replacement is the fix. A single interior door hinge costs about $5. Replacement takes about 10 minutes per hinge. Using basic tools, a few tips on related door problems. For doors that stick or scrape the frame, sometimes the hinge is sagging because the screws have backed out. Tighten the screws in the hinge plates with a screwdriver. If the screws no longer hold because the holes are stripped, remove the screw. Stuff the hole with a few wooden toothpicks dipped in wood glue, let dry, then re-drive the screw. The toothpicks give the screw fresh wood to bite into. For doors that won't latch, the strike plate on the door jamb may be misaligned. Adjust the strike plate position slightly, or file the opening to better fit the latch bolt. For doors that bounce back when they close, the latch bolt may not be properly engaging. Check that the bolt's angled side is facing the strike plate opening. Some bolts can be flipped for doors opening in different directions. For hinge pins that are rusted in place and won't come out, spray a bit of penetrating oil on the pin and tap it gently. Sometimes they need a few minutes of soaking. For extremely stubborn pins, you may need to replace the whole hinge. For cabinet door hinges, especially the European-style concealed hinges, common in modern kitchens, specialized hinge lubricants are available. Silicone works fine for most. For garage door hinges, which are heavier duty, use a heavier grease. Garage door lubricant sprays, about $5, are formulated for these. Additional tips for door longevity: don't hang heavy objects from doors. Coat hangers over doors create stress on hinges that accelerates wear. Don't slam doors, the impact damages hinges and the strike plate over time. For exterior doors in wet climates, consider weather stripping and door sweeps that reduce water exposure to hinges. For antique doors with brass or bronze hinges, oil them with a light mineral oil rather than modern synthetics. The period-appropriate lubricant keeps the patina intact. For pocket doors, which ride on tracks, different hardware is involved. Track lubrication with silicone spray or white lithium grease works well. A few honest notes: WD-40 does have its uses. It's great for loosening stuck nuts, cleaning rusted metal, displacing water from electrical contacts, and removing adhesive residues. Just not for lubricating door hinges as a long-term solution. Some people use cooking oil on door hinges in a pinch. It works temporarily but goes rancid, attracts dust, and isn't a long-term solution. Not recommended. Beeswax or candle wax can be used to quiet a squeaky hinge temporarily. Rub the hinge pin and knuckles with a candle stub or a block of beeswax. The wax transfers and provides modest lubrication for a while. Bar soap rubbed on a hinge pin also provides short-term quieting, but like cooking oil, it's a temporary fix. The economic comparison: $6 for a can of silicone spray treats every hinge in the house for years. $5 for a tube of lithium grease lasts even longer. Versus $400 for a handyman to replace all hinges. versus the ongoing annoyance of squeaking doors that keeps returning every few months with the wrong product. One more tip. After lubricating all your hinges, make a note of the date. A single good lubrication job should last 2 to 5 years on interior hinges. If squeaks start returning within 6 months, you may have heavy wear or a bad hinge. Occasional touch-ups are fine, but frequent relubrication suggests something else is going on. For rental properties, door hinge maintenance is an easy win. Tenants find squeaky doors annoying, and a 30-minute lubrication run through the whole unit takes care of it for years. If your doors have been squeaking and you've been spraying WD-40 every few months, stop. Pick up a can of silicone lubricant or a tube of white lithium grease. Spend 30 minutes doing all your hinges with the right product. The squeaks will stop and they won't come back. It's one of those tiny improvements that makes a house feel better cared for. And for a few dollars, every door in your home can operate quietly for years.